6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The morning news edited by Danushka Madavala, read by Soundithavam. The Met Department says that the epicenter of the Buravi cyclonic storm will reach the Mannar Bay this morning. No severe damages reported due to the cyclone so far. Heavy downpour expected in many areas today as well. Sri Lanka condemns the terrorist attack against Iranian nuclear scientists. The Minuwangoda-Paliagoda dual clusters infections tally has reached 21,000. In world news, Iran passes law to boost uranium enrichment and block inspectors. The centre of the cyclonic storm Buravi has crossed the northeastern coast of Sri Lanka between Kuchaveli and Thiriyai between 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. yesterday. The cyclonic storm, with a wind speed of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 90 kilometers per hour, is very likely to move west-northwestwards thereafter and emerge into the Gulf of Mannar by this morning. Due to this system storm surge of about 1 meter height above the astronomical tide, it is likely to inundate low-lying coastal areas extending from Punareen to Puttalam. The Met Department forecasts that under the influence of the aforementioned system, today and tomorrow, the sea areas to the north, northeast, west and northeast of the island will be very rough at times. The other sea areas around the island will be fairly rough. The Met Department further says that the epicenter of the Buravi cyclonic storm will reach the Mannar Bay this morning. Due to this, the over 1 meter high sea waves could be expected in those areas. The coastal areas may flood and it is requested to take adequate steps. The naval and fishing communities have been advised not to venture into the deep and shallow sea areas over the island until further notice. The fishing and naval communities are requested to be attentive about future bulletins issued by the Department of Meteorology in the next few days. District secretaries say that there are no reports of severe damages due to the Buravi cyclonic storm. Only a few minor damages have been reported so far. The governor of the Northwestern Province, Raja Kollure, says that all schools in the Puttalam district will remain closed today. And the governor of the Northern Province, PSM Charles, says that all schools in the Northern Province will also be kept closed today and tomorrow. The government says that several measures have been taken to face any disaster situation. Steps have been taken to take precautionary measures at district and regional levels. People have been informed through district and divisional secretaries of the districts that can be affected. The fisheries community has been informed not to engage in fishing activities off the eastern coast. The fisheries community have been evacuated from the coasts of risky districts. The relevant authorities have been informed to restore infrastructure that could be damaged within 24 hours. People in areas prone to sudden floods will be relocated to safer areas. The government says that funds have already been provided to the district secretaries to provide essential services to the people who may get affected. Defence Secretary Kamal Gunaratne said that they are prepared to face any disaster. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only, protecting you who drives our nation forward.
Following the new development in COVID-19 figures yesterday, the Minuwangoda-Paliagoda dual clusters infections tally has reached 21,333. As per statistics, the total number of COVID-19 infections confirmed in the country to date now stands at 24,882. Recoveries from the virus, meanwhile, climbed to 18,304 earlier yesterday, as 487 more patients regained health. However, 6,456 active cases are still under medical care at selected hospitals and treatment centres located across the island. Sri Lanka has also witnessed 122 deaths related to COVID-19. Minister S.M. Chandrasena said that the previous government destroyed the economy of the country by importing grains that could be cultivated in the country. The minister said that the groups that destroyed the local economy are trying to mislead the people at present. He was speaking during a media briefing yesterday at the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana Party headquarters. That's local news.
Every morning, my My drive is not just to work. I'm driving my nation's progress.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only. An exclusive motor insurance designed for you. Up to 75,000 rupees worth instant claim settlements within 3 working hours. Call and move facility. 24/7 roadside assistance. And accommodation cost reimbursements at an accident. Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus Ladies Only. Protecting you who drives our nation forward.
Only from Sri Lanka Insurance.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vedha Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya.
Sri Lanka's foreign ministry yesterday condemned the terrorist attack against Iranian scientist Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh and called for stability and security of the Middle East region. Court, Sri Lanka condemns the assassination of Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh and any form of acts of terrorism against humanity, unquote, the foreign ministry said in a statement. Court, Sri Lanka calls for the stability and security of the Middle East and the Persian Gulf region and believes strongly in dialogue and engagement as the most successful means for finding a solution to problems, unquote, it added. Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, Deputy Minister of Defense and head of the Research and Innovation Organization of the Ministry of Defense of Iran, was assassinated on the 27th of November. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedha Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the commuters and long-distance passengers complain that they do not get sufficient public transport services after 7 p.m. in the main cities, including Colombo. As a result, the commuters, especially long-distance passengers, face immense difficulties. Sometimes they have to wait for long hours to board a bus. This is for the attention of the Western Province Passenger Transport Authority and came to you in Watchlight. On to a bulletin of world news. In the headlines, Iran passes law to boost uranium enrichment and block inspectors. Ethiopia and the UN reach Tigray aid deal. A baby girl born from a record-setting 27-year-old embryo. Iran has moved to stop UN inspections of its nuclear sites and step up uranium enrichment under a new law approved by its parliament. The bill would require the government to resume enriching uranium to 20%, well above the 3.67% agreed under 2015 nuclear deal if crippling sanctions are not eased in 2 months. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani says he opposed implementation of the law. It comes after the targeted killing of Iran's top nuclear scientist. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was killed in a mysterious attack on a road outside the capital Tehran last Friday. Iran believes Israel and an exiled opposition group used a remote-control weapon to carry out the shooting. Israel has not publicly commented on the allegations of its involvement. The UN and Ethiopia have agreed to allow aid into the country's conflict-torn Tigray region, UN officials say. UN spokesman Saviano Abreu said an assessment mission would begin later on Wednesday. There have been no words so far from the Ethiopian government. Food and medicines are said to be running out for millions of people. Hundreds of people have reportedly been killed in the month-long fighting between the Federal Army and the Tigray People's Liberation Front. The Ethiopian government said the regional capital Mekelle was seized over the weekend, but the TPLF soldiers said they were still fighting near the city. When Molly Gibson was born in October of this year, it was 27 years in the making. Her embryo was frozen in October 1992 and stayed that way until February 2020 when Tina and Ben Gibson of Tennessee adopted it. Molly is believed to have set a new record for the longest frozen embryo to have resulted in a birth, breaking a record set by her older sister Emma. The family struggled with fertility for nearly 5 years before Mrs. Gibson's parents saw a story about embryo adoption on a local news station. Back to the headlines of this bulletin of world news. Iran passes law to boost uranium enrichment and block inspectors. Ethiopia and the UN reach Tigray aid deal. And a baby girl born from a record-setting 27-year-old embryo. That concludes world news. On to development news. Following their last September's fruitful meeting, the ambassador of Afghanistan to Colombo, M. Ashraf Haidari, called the Sri Lankan Minister of State for Regional Cooperation, Taraka Balasuriya, to discuss the tangible progress which the two sides have made in the overall growing Afghanistan-Sri Lanka bilateral relations over the past quarter. Foremost, Ambassador Haidari highlighted, as a sign of mutual commitment to stronger bilateral ties, the recent high-level exchange of messages between the leaderships of Afghanistan and Sri Lanka on the celebration of the 62nd anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between the two countries, the Afghanistan embassy said. Moving on to sports news, Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 750th career goal as Juventus eased to victory against Dynamo Kiev in a match refereed by Stephanie Frappart, who became the first woman to take charge of a men's Champions League fixture. The Portuguese forward scored the second for the Italian champions, already through to the last 16, when he tapped in after Georgie Bushon's attempted block rebounded off Juve striker Alvaro Morata. Ronaldo was made to wait a few seconds before the VAR team signalled to the French referee the goal would stand. That's sports news, business news, up next.
Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. NSB Wings, recharge the high goals.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, addressing the 20th Annual Economic Summit of the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce yesterday, said that the government is all ready to take up the challenge of fortifying the economy by the implementation of new strategies. He also noted that it would be a joint effort of both the government and the private sectors, which will see solutions to both challenges in the arena of economic development. That's business news. We look at economic news next.
Business news, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The wait is over, and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSB Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSB Wings, recharge the high goals.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
Headline inflation as measured by the year-on-year change in the Colombo Consumer Price Index increased marginally to 4.1% in November 2020 from 4% in October 2020. This was driven by a monthly increase in prices of items in both food and non-food categories. Meanwhile, food inflation increased marginally to 10.3% in November 2020 from 10% in October 2020. Non-food inflation also increased marginally to 1.6% in November 2020 from 1.3% in October 2020. That's economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. Heard you gave a treat for everyone in your department yesterday.
Yeah.
When will be our treat, huh?
Well, how about today?
Oh no, I was just joking. We'll have a party with your new salary.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Those who spread goodness radiate happiness to everyone around them. Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On to the weather report. The centre of the cyclonic storm Buravi has crossed the northeastern coast of Sri Lanka between Kuchaveli and Thiriyai between 10:30 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. yesterday. The cyclonic storm, with a wind speed of 70 to 80 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 90 kilometers per hour, is very likely to move west-northwestwards thereafter and emerge into the Gulf of Mannar by today morning. Due to this system storm surge of about 1 meter height above the astronomical tide, it is likely to inundate low-lying coastal areas extending from Punareen to Puttalam. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Met Department says that the epicenter of the Burevi cyclonic storm will reach the Mannar Bay this morning. No severe damages reported due to the cyclone so far. Heavy downpour expected in many areas today as well. Sri Lanka condemns the terrorist attack against Iranian nuclear scientist. The Minuangoda-Paleogoda dual clusters infections tally has reached 21,000. And Iran passes law to boost uranium enrichment and block inspectors. That concludes this bulletin of news, and now it's back to your host this Thursday morning, your good friend and mine, Victor Raj, to keep you entertained. Good morning, Victor, and it's all yours.